Hello, everybody. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Let me see. Mic should be working. So this is going to be you know, first test out run on my live, and yeah, we're going to be talking about some interesting topics that I've been seeing going on in the news, and on top of that, we're going to be getting into some into some Bible prophecy as well. So just make sure everybody can hear me. All right, so let me see. Share screen. All right. So one of the things that has been coming up in the news lately that I've been seeing so far, and of course they're going to say the first thing they say here is conspiracy theory. That's their go-to, word here. But let's see what they're talking about in this. Excuse me. We got all these updates. They say conspiracy theories and talk of martial law grips the White House as Trump seeks to undo Biden's win. Okay, so this is what's going on in the States for right now. And as you see, says here, Donald Trump on Tuesday touted yet another false claim about the election as he reportedly has rattled close White House advisors by talking with conspiracy-minded allies who have fueled his fantasies of undoing Joe Biden's victory. Oh boy. So once again, I would play some video, but I probably might link this video in the description because I'm subbed to this channel called Shaking My Head Productions, and a while back he did this video about how Back to the Future had a lot to do with what's going on right now, because in that scene of Back to the Future they said in there that Biff Tannen was supposed to be based off Donald Trump, how he was supposed to be martial law, that whole scene there. Don't want that up there. Anyway, says they have floated suggestions, including having Trump declare martial law. Okay. I was saying this a while back, about, in what, 2015? No, not 2015. I think it was about 2014, 2015, when this whole thing was going about, when they had the trains rolling in with the military gear and stuff. And then around 2016, 2017, they had, all the Abrams tanks and, what is that, Humvees with the, what is that, active denial system, right? The 5G microwave, whatever weapon, supposed to be active denial, for rioters, whatever, disperse a crowd. Anyway, so they're talking about these floating suggestions of martial law and rerunning the election selection in the states where he narrowly lost, trying to get congressional Republicans to avoid Biden's win during a session next month and seizing voting machines. Although they had a video out where Biden was talking about, they pulled off the, best voter fraud. But anyway, so, I find it very odd, once again, that I said, I even showed this on Facebook. I mentioned this on Facebook about how the map almost aligned with the 2016 selections. We're just going to call it selections, right? So they also mentioned that martial law has been instituted 64 times. I was just listening to this like earlier or yesterday or something, but it says leading the charge has been lawyer Sidney Powell, whom Trump fired as an election attorney last month. Powell's client, Michael Flynn, the former national security advisor, whom Trump recently pardoned for lying to FBI agents. People are out there talking about martial law like it's something that we've never done, Flynn told the conservative news outlet Newsmax last week. Martial law has been instituted 64 times, and indeed it has, when dealing with the George Floyd riots and all those riots and all that stuff. Even with the, CVS, for those that watch my, that are subbed, what CVS is, right? So they said it's been instituted, 64 times, right? So that means they used it 64 times. Okay, they say Powell, who was fired from the campaign re-election challenge last month because her theories about voting machines being used to swing the election to Biden apparently were too extreme for other Trump lawyers, has visited the White House 3 times since Friday. Trump reportedly has mulled the idea of appointing her as special counsel to investigate purported selection fraud. Powell did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. Of course not. They never respond. Another person was pushed Trump to ignore more moderate suggestion made by White House counsel Pat Cipollone, an advisor. Other advisors is Patrick Byron, the former CEO of Overstock.com. Okay, so then you're getting all to this Russia stuff, right? So, just find it very, very odd, and this also, has to do with, what I had a dream about when I spoke about that dream I had, how the military, in these white tents with these, COVID tents everywhere, and how they're, Trump said, oh, we're going to use the military to distribute the vax, right, to the pharmacies, right? In a minute, we're going to get into, pharmacies, but let's see here. Let's go into this. I find it very, very odd. This is one I want to cover here. Dealing with this. As soon as this loads. Okay. 2020, what a year. Such a year we have been through. Seems like it never will end. But, here you go. Since January 1st, 2020 starts innocently in San Francisco with the annual New Year's, aka, this, pagan festival. Really, that's what it is. Fireworks show at the Ferry Building just past midnight, but an early optimism soon gives way to pandemic fears, social unrest, wildfire fueled hysteria, and political dysfunction. This is all we had to go through this year. Just like the Bible states, and perilous times shall come. Everybody wants to go back to normal. Just remembering the days when you didn't have to wear a face mask. Yeah. It's just sad that those days will never be remembered again. As you see, let's look at the nice little pictures here. They say pictures speak 1,000 words, right? Let's look here because I see a whole bunch of stuff. Here you have over here in this corner right here, for all that know about what's really going on in the world, I find it very odd. They have a picture of this hand sign being thrown up here, right? This is the civil unrest, right? This is also what they've been talking about. This is also prophesied, right? Go on through. Everybody worships their idol, Kobe Bryant, right? He's not even dead. He's in the bunker. Oh, wait, let me not say that, right? Because they might shut me down. All the nice days, right? All the nice days. We just go down the line here, right? You got these dirt bags, Go down the line, go down the line. This is when COVID starts, right? And then this is the funny thing, right? Because it says here, March 9th. This is around the time when the pandemic started, right? And they say the Princess cruise ship passes the western span of the San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge. In this photo taken by Yerba Buena Island, passengers on the coronavirus-stricken ship disembark in Oakland. Yeah, I stay here. But, just going back in time. Now, did this make sense? Like, really, did it make sense? And then they blame us for the spread. They say, oh, you got to stay 6 feet, remind you of contagion. Let's go in here. I hope they got that thunderstorm, right? Here you go. Fremont Homes sits still during the first day of shelter in place period. Looks like a ghost town. Look at this nice, amazing view here, right? All these nice clouds here, right? So amazing. The wonderful works of the Most High, So go down. And it says here, Lucinda Tinsman quarantines her mother, right, at her Menlo Park home after pulling her out of a nursing home where a resident tested positive for COVIDs. We're just going through a recap of 2020 since it's about to end, right? Let's just see, all the hectic stuff we had to go through and why I say 2021 isn't going to be any better, guys. The economy is going to tank, and people got to get ready for that. All right, here you go. The start of it all. Members of the Hayward Police Department work with firefighters at a drive-through COVID-19 screening station along Huntwood Avenue near Hayward Fire Station 7 with tests in short supply. And then it says here they were conducting nearly 20,000 coronavirus tests daily. How are they in short supply here, but you're testing 200,000 daily? It just doesn't make sense. Oh, 9 months later, California. But still doesn't make sense. How'd they get this number if they're in short supply? But again, it's just very, very mysterious, right? And you'll understand why I'm showing this. So school line, this is their shelter in place with all these school buses. Still don't understand the point that was. All the stuff, all in March, right? I'm sorry. But look, let's hear. National Guards, 40,000. So they had these medical beds here. This was the start. But I told people, they already had this stuff in place. It seemed like, ever since, what was that? I would play the video, but I don't want to get a copyright strike. When Donald Trump got elected, he was talking about what he said, maybe this is the calm before the storm. And they were asking him, what's the storm? And it was just like some cryptic thing. He's sitting there with all these military generals and all, right? And then, later on down the line, here we are. All right. So, this is a whole thing, right? Just get this. Within a month, right? Within a month, people started losing their jobs. Santa Clara, they were doing food distribution from, food banks and all. People losing their jobs, but, this goes to show, once again, the white tents from my dream. And as I stated in my dream, it's on my channel. So in my dream I had a while back, it was, these cages and these soldiers and these white tents and, some other nasty stuff that the government has on these military bases. And we'll get into that probably in another live. I'm going to do probably another live tomorrow or so. But told people in my dream, it was these white tents and people were going in, beat up, bruised up, stuff like that and all like that. Like, and they're going in, coming out the other side. Now, I don't know the whole thing dealing with that dream, but, it's starting to look like, what I dreamed about, military being rolled out and, all this stuff. You got all this, right? Although, look at this. Look at this. I mean, give me a break. You guys believe this? Huh? Do you guys believe this? Who is he attending to on this bed? Right? Who? It's nobody there. And, it looks like another dummy, another mannequin that they're, practicing on, as I shown in the past, but it got deleted off Facebook, right? And then here you go. The military police, right? Also, when Donald Trump was mentioning in another speech, when he was talking about, police getting the military equipment they need for, surplus military equipment. And then this is also, mentioned, dealing with the end times, right? And then you just see like within 2 months, everything crumbles. You had, what is this whole thing about these police shootings. Now you got the mass shootings again. And it seems very odd that, with every single president, you always have a mass shooting, you always have civil unrest, you always have all this stuff, right? And this is when, this whole thing jumped off with the George Floyd thing. And then get this, you want to find out what the real, like, this is why they get away with pushing the numbers rose, COVID, the cases rose, because you see stuff like this and it gives them a perfect reason to say, oh, the cases rose. I mean, give me a break. I haven't seen anybody sick. And I stay I stay around a bunch of hospitals, like at least 3 of them. And all I see is empty parking lots and, a couple of doctors sitting in there. I was doing deliveries for Uber Eats on my bike. I rode up to this one hospital, delivered food to this doctor, actually 2 hospitals, one over in, by this park, Mosswood, and another one in Berkeley. And I ain't seen nobody in there, but you see a bunch of people walking around with their face mask, right? Look, here's another thing, right? The staged bricks they had. And then look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Do you think this is 6 feet apart? Did they sanitize their hands before they shook hands? Or is this like, out of place? Because remember, this is during the pandemic. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm just pointing stuff out. Oh, let's see. This is at Rock Ridge. I'm just showing stuff that was going on local news. Well, what is this? Look at this. I didn't hear about this, right? Thick fog accentuates the glow of a pink triangular light display on Twin Peaks in San Francisco. Artist Ben Davis used more than 2,700 LED lights to create the piece, which was unveiled as part of the more subdued celebration of Pride Week in San Francisco. More like, Sodom and Gomorrah week, right? Because that's all that is, right? I mean, for all of us that read our Bibles, right? We know that. Yeah, so then it gets really ridiculous, right? It gets really ridiculous. Evacuate, vacation plans and all that stuff. And then more ridiculousness, right? Look at this. Look at this. More ridiculousness, right? Like, come on. Let's see. Longtime employees Bonita Ritona Leff and Debbie Bischoff console each other at Cloverleaf Family Bowl in Fremont, the bowling alley, which has been open since 1959, was one of many businesses that had to close its doors because of the coronavirus pandemic. Where's the social distancing? I mean, come on. The mask ain't gonna save you, right? They even stated that in an article with that, right? More, right? Everybody was still waiting. July, right? We're almost there. We're almost there, guys. Just going through this. Here is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen in my life. And this is what I said in 2020, the world has went completely loopy. Because this, cardboard cutouts replace fans at Oracle Park during a game between the Giants and Texas Rangers. That has been a common sight in stadiums and arenas across the county because of the pandemic. I mean, really? I mean, what did they do? Take photos of all the fans and say, hey, look, send us a photo wearing your favorite football, basketball, baseball, whatever team, and we'll put you on a cardboard cutout. And it'll be like you're sitting there, but you're not sitting there. I'm sorry, guys, but you gotta just laugh at this stuff. It's just totally ridiculous, right? It's just the deception is real, right? I mean, I don't like to laugh, but then they allow this. A big crowd cools off at Kings Beach State Recreation Area along Lake Tahoe. The surge of visitors to the area led to protests from locals who said the tourists were behaving badly, leaving trash and putting residents at risk during the pandemic. Yeah, people were behaving badly. Yeah, little kids and families that just want to, live their life because no one's sick, right? No one got sick. But of course, they rose the numbers again so they could put people in fear. And then you had this, right? Medical personnel work at a new COVID-19 test site at the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds in San Jose. The county opened a large-scale coronavirus testing site where officials hope to test thousands of residents daily and ultimately offer flu and COVID-19 vaccinations. Again, we're just reading the news, so let's say they can't do anything, right? Lightning fills the sky above Bay Bridge at dawn break in San Francisco. The storm created spectacular visuals, but also sparked some of the largest wildfires in American history. This is what I was saying, August 16th, right? That was the day I said that, the Most High came and paid a visit to the Bay Area, because right after that, boom, and let's just pause here. The reason why, I'm showing this is because of this. Let's just do this real quick. Let's go here. Okay. The reason why I'm showing this is because, okay, I was already there. All right. So it was in Joel 2. I was in Joel 3. So let's go Joel 2. Okay. So it says here, right? And when you understand what or where Babylon is by description, it kind of becomes apparent, So this is dealing with, the end times right here. This is Joel 2. I'm going to read this whole chapter so that, people could know what's going on. Okay. So this is what is basically happened this year, as I showed here in the hindsight 2020. Okay. Says here, blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. It's not here yet, but it is near. Okay. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick and of thick darkness as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there have not been ever like uh there have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. So right here, we're getting a clue, and this, I believe, ties in with the super soldiers dealing with, what I'm seeing, happening in the world. Okay, because if there's going to be a great people, right, a great people and a strong, there have not been ever like, neither shall be any more after, even in the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yeah, and nothing shall escape them. Okay, so this is obviously dealing with the end times. This has not happened yet. Okay, so the reason why I'm reading this is because this deals with the horsemen, right? When you get into, the apocalypse, 4 horsemen, right? This basically here gives you the clear description of them. Said the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains, they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one in his way, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. This is the clue here, right? Because it's also spoken of in Revelations, right? When it talks about, that time that's going to come where, men shall seek death and death shall flee from them. They shall long to die, but, death, they're not going to be able to die. Okay. So this also is another clue that I've been looking at when it deals with the whole super soldier program that they got going. And I will bring this up real quick so you guys could see. Here. This was in the news, but I wanted to get it from Biospace, but it's the same thing, it says China has done human testing to create biologically enhanced super soldiers, says top U.S. officials. U.S. intelligence agencies didn't immediately respond to requests for comment about whether China seeks super soldiers like those in such films as Captain America. So basically, this is another thing that I've been, everybody, not just me, but it's been a lot of people talking about, predictive programming in these movies and in these TV shows and the music and all this stuff, right? So it says here, Washington, U.S. intelligence shows that China has conducted human testing on members of the People's Liberation Army in hopes of developing soldiers with biologically enhanced capabilities, the top U.S. intelligence officials said Friday. This is why I was going into this whole thing, and Joe, because, like I said, you're going to see why I read this in Joel where I'm highlighting this part about, all of them coming, all of them, coming in battle array, strong people, right? Fire, like a noise of a flame of a fire that devoureth the stubble. The people, strong, set in battle array, right? And then also right here, okay, let me go down here. It says here, neither shall one thrust another, neither shall they walk. They shall walk everyone in his path. When they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. Okay. So when you get into this whole thing that they're doing right here, not making any, I'm not making any, final decisions, but, I would say that this is something that, must be watched very closely because it could be, fulfillment to Bible prophecy. So John Ratcliffe, the director of national intelligence, included the explosive claim in a long Wall Street Journal op-ed in which he made the case that China poses the preeminent national security threat. Threat to the United States. There are no ethnical boundaries to Beijing's pursuit of power. Wrote Ratcliffe's, a Republican former member of Congress from Texas. His office and the CIA did not immediately respond to the request. Once again, they don't never respond to any request. To the notion that China sought to create super soldiers of the sort depicted in Hollywood films like Captain America, Bloodshot, and Universal Soldier. Last year, two American, let's see. So, again, this is where I was talking about with CRISPR, right? And I'm not going to talk about, what I already got a copyright strike for it, but let's just say go back into some of my older videos, and I got a link in one of those videos, a couple of links that I'm talking about some stuff, or I'm showing some research stuff that you guys should really go and look into. I might link the video in the descriptions when I'm done here, but we're still going to go back in here and cover Joel 2. But I want to get through this because also this ties into what happened in the garden, or actually not in the garden, but in Genesis 6, right? The whole thing about, the fall, about fallen angels coming down, mating with men, women, and stuff like that. And, genetic, the genes were tainted, right? Humans weren't humans, it was half man, half angel, and then giants, and, the story in Genesis 6. So last year, two American scholars wrote a paper examining China's ambition to apply biotechnology to the battlefield, including what they said were signs that China was interested in using gene editing technology to enhance human and perhaps soldier performance. So again, we're just gonna, scroll down to the real. So again, all this stuff deals with this nanotech, right? As you see here in this paragraph. One prominent Chinese general said in 2017 that modern biotechnology is the integration with information, nanotechnology, and the cognitive, etc. domains will have revolutionary influences upon weapon and equipment, the combat spaces, and forms of warfare, and military theories. Okay, so this also, goes in line with the whole iron and clay kingdom, you know. So when you get to the whole Bible prophecy of what is that, Isaiah, right? And it states that the iron and clay, and people say that, oh, this is a separation of church and state, or they got these theories. I think it's really dealing with man merging with machine. If we're considered the clay formed by the potter, which would be the Most High in so many words, and we're the clay, and technology would be the iron, right? And nanotech is that iron, right? So that kind of, and then it changes your DNA and all that, right? So this is why, they say it's, super soldiers. And they even say it here. So it's not like I'm spreading, disinfo. They also say it here, right? It's, it's basically, gene editing. Let's go back up here, right? So it's using gene editing technology to enhance human, perhaps soldier performance. Okay. So just in case, they want to say, oh, I'm spreading conspiracy theories. No, I'm not. I'm just reading a news article, right? It's you guys are saying it. So again, changing people's DNA to create super soldiers, right? So got that. Now let's continue here. It says, they shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb upon the houses. They shall enter in the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. Let me go down. Probably might not stay live for that long. I really don't have much to talk about. I just want to do this one live as a test run, make sure some people still hear me. But, so he says here, the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong and that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, who can abide? Who can abide? Therefore, also now, saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, with fasting and with weeping and with mourning, and rend your heart and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your God, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. Who knoweth if he will return and repent and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto the Lord your God? Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. It's basically what people should be doing right now, and if we were back in the days, the true repentance of a nation is basically in sackcloth and ashes. That's how the nations used to repent back then. It's just something that they did back then. But all that stuff was lost through time, all the customs and all, right? So it says, gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth in his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, weep between the porch and the altar. Let them say, spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen shall rule over them. This is talking about his the 12 tribes. But again, that's a touchy subject that most people will not understand unless you read your whole Bible. Okay. And it says, wherefore should they say among the people, where is their God? Then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his people. Yeah, the Lord will answer and say unto his people, behold, I send you corn. So the reason why I'm reading this is because, also this deals with, the end times. It's kind of long. It's almost, it's almost done. But this is talk about a prophecy that I've seen. I'm just gonna go through this a little bit, go to some prophecies that I see being fulfilled through this chapter. So when the Most High talks about, causing the rain, the former rain and the latter rain from the first month, he's talking about, his words, right? Rain, water of life, bread, wine, right? It all deals with his doctrine, commandments, law, statutes, his teachings, all that. So it said, I will destroy the locust. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten, the canker worm and the caterpillar and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. And ye shall eat in the plenty and be satisfied and praise the name of your Lord the God and have dwelt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed. This is talking about, once again, 12 tribes. When you understand Exodus and the Old Testament, this is also dealing with the end times, because it's not only dealing with, the let's say the 12 tribes. Is whoever the Most High deals with many people, but it's always to bring his people back, right? So it says, it shall come to pass afterwards that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. So we know that this is going to happen right before he comes back. Okay, because when he says, when he says this about the sun and the moon, we know that deals exactly with the end times, right? When he comes back. Okay. And he says, and it shall come to pass that whosoever, it doesn't say just Israel, it doesn't say just the 12 tribes, it says whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. So once again, when he talks about the remnant, this is talking about the 144,000 from the 12 tribes mentioned in Revelation 7. And then with them is the multitude, the grafted in Gentiles, all the other all the other nations. So when we have them clear understandings, then it becomes apparent. It's also mentioned, I kind of want to get into this Abrams Accord news because it also deals with an end times prophecy, dealing with the arrival of the Antichrist. And we know the verse, for when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction. This deals with the end times as well. It says Trump incentives for signing peace accord with Israel. This is all dealing with prophecy. They won't tell you that, but if you read, I'm not going to go into this today, but as you see here, dealing with this Abrams Accord, and I'm going to keep a close watch on this for further fulfillment because we see that. Let me see. I'm gonna look up later how many nations signed with this Abrams Accord here, because if it's either the 10 or the 8, okay, we know it's 10 kings that has no kingdom. They don't have a kingdom, but they're given power 1 hour with the beast, okay? And the other 8 kings that are mentioned in Revelation are the ones that hate the whore and burn her with fire. And that's talking about Babylon, the mystery Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, which is America. And I find it very interesting. Another thing I want to cover here, because a lot of people, I talk about a lot of subjects. So let's go into America and Egypt. Right. I find this very interesting. I did post this information already on Facebook many times, but I just want it to be, further, known. So let's see here. We're going to go to, and I hope I could still find it if they didn't remove it. Let's just do this. Let's just go to tour. Okay. Here we go. Tour Egypt. Right. So this also deals with a prophecy. And like I say, a lot. It is very important to understand certain things when dealing with, prophecy. Okay, so let me see if I can find this here. Let's see. About. Let's see if it's in the about. All right. All right, let's do this. America. Here it is. This is what I wanted. Okay. So this is on Tour Egypt. And it says this. Oops. I don't want to blow it up that much to where you can't really see it. But here you have it. You know, now it's a lot of times when uh when certain things are being spoken about, and try and deal with Bible prophecy and talking about who are the real chosen people, the Most High. And it very fascinates me that the United States and Egypt as soulmates, and this is by Jimmy Dunn. Okay, this is somebody from this Tour Egypt website, and it says here, it may shock, right? It might shock you guys, right? So to understand what's being said here, you have to understand the history of what happened in Egypt as well. Says, it might shock many of our readers for me to assert that of all the countries in the world, hardly any two are more closely related than the United States and Egypt. But there are striking historical similarities between these two nations in a very broad manner. Egypt is the United States' older brother, and there are more important lessons to be learned from older brothers, right? I find it very odd, right? What is one of those important lessons that America is going to learn, since Egypt and America are the same, right? This is a lesson America is learning right as we speak. Here we have it. Because I love Bible prophecy so much, and the Bible does not lie, and you see it manifest around the world, then you could see it's true, right? Just like he said in the last days, he was going to send locust plagues, and you see locust plagues in Egypt, Africa, the Middle East. I think some was in China. I think they stretched as far as probably, I would say Russia. I'm not sure. I might check that. We probably might do probably talk about that as well. But it says here, then the Lord said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh, tell him, thus said the Lord God of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For if thou wilt refuse to let them go and will hold them still, behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, and upon the asses, and upon the camels, and upon oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous murrain. And the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that is the children of Israel's. And the Lord appointed a set time. He appoints set times for everything. And America's learning this lesson in these end times, saying, tomorrow the Lord will do this thing in the land. And the Lord did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of the Israelites dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go. So, as it states here, there are many lessons to be learned from older brothers, okay? Just as they did back then, America is doing now. See, in Ecclesiastes 1, right? Let's get that. Ecclesiastes 1:9. But we're going to go on through this. Ecclesiastes 1 says here, the words of the preacher, the son of David and king in Jerusalem, vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteneth to his place where he rose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. All things are full of labor, man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. The thing that hath been, like it is doing now, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. Okay, nothing new. History always repeats itself. We learned that through history, right? Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It have been already of old time, which was before us, right? All these things that we're experiencing, right? Like back in Egypt, there was a famine, right? We're experiencing a famine, but we're so spoiled now. We got money. We don't have to really, go out and farm our own food, like learn how to live off the land, like, those of old. We got cars, we got all this technology, we got all this stuff. We got these houses, right? We got jobs, we got all this stuff. We rely on our governments, we rely on, leaders and stuff like that, to take care of us, basically. And that's all it is they, act like they care, but then, they ship our children off to war and, feed us garbage food. And it's just, and people wonder why obesity in young children has climbed over the years, because think about it. What are they eating? Right. But again, that's why they make healthy food expensive and, not so healthy food cheap, right? Because everybody likes what's cheap. Sometimes cheap isn't good. But it says here, there is no remembrance of the former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of the things that are to come with those that shall come after. So basically what it's saying here is like get this. Our great grandparents, right? Whatever they had, whatever they did back then, all their era, all that stuff they did back then, all that stuff is not remembered in our time today, right? But it's still the same old thing being done, just in a new version, right? Like back then they used to like get this, right? Back then, people don't probably believe it, but the Bible does speak a lot about sorcerers and witches and warlocks and people that do that stuff, right? And making potions and spells and stuff like that, right? Nowadays, it's, when you go to your hospitals, right? And it makes you wonder why, they got these symbols all over the place. We'll get into that one day. But for now, I want to keep it like, on the Bible. Say, I, the preacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem. And I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail have God given to the sons of men to be exercised therewith. This all came right after, the expellment of Adam and Eve out the garden, right? Because he told them, Adam, back in Genesis 3, when he, ate from that fruit of that tree, and he said, just because you obeyed your wife, you're gonna eat from this land, and you're gonna, basically work like what we're doing right now. Basically, you know, when they're in the garden, they didn't sweat or none of that. But when they got kicked out the garden, and Most High had to fashion them flesh and all, that's when they start sweating and everything. And it was like foreign to them. See, we're used to it, but back then, most of this stuff, it's not remembered. It says, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. I commune with mine own heart, saying, lo, I am come to great estate, right? Same thing that's going on right now. You see all these rich people, right? You see all these celebrities. They wanted fame, they wanted fortune, they wanted great estate, these mansions, cars, the notoriety, right? Yeah. This is the same thing that who is this? I think this is Solomon, right? Let's see. Where is this at? I believe this is either Solomon. No, yep. This is King David. Sorry. I believe this is David. So, he's talking here about, coming to great estate and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yeah, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge, and I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this is also vexation of spirit, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Okay. It's kind of like, when you start coming into the truth and you start understanding what's really being done down here, and people start really seeing what's really being done and where these people are really leading us, then, all this right here makes you, it will increase the sorrow. I feel sorry for a lot of people that don't know this information because, like he stated, many people, his people, and not only his people, but many others will be destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because it says also, be not says here. This is one that many people should take at heart. Okay. It says 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, we're supposed to, know the enemy's plans so that we can, better fight instead of being ignorant, right, of his devices, right? We know he uses media, he uses, his puppets, I call them puppets, because if you're going to do all his bidding for him, but I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to get out of here early. I just wanted to, come on here and, share a little Commonwealth. And, hopefully I can do a lot more of these. Let me read these comments. I read none of this yet. While I'm going to shut it down in a minute. Get that off here. Let's see here. Go back up. Yeah, I see in the chat. Let's see here. Yeah, I just want to let people know, like, it's nothing really to be, worried about, really. Only thing people need to be worried about is, getting yourselves ready, for the king when he comes back, because, these people, they're gonna face what they got coming. They know what they got coming. That's why they, got to try and do all the best they could to try and deceive the masses. But what they don't understand is, they're not so clever, when it comes down to it. The Most High left a remnant down here for a reason. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Daniel Berger, Truth Seek, my mom's, Austin McCray, Brian Lyok. Thank you guys for stopping by. I'm going to try and do a little bit more lives. Gaia, thank you guys for stopping by. Try and do some more of these, so, because I feel like a lot more needs to be talked about, and not a lot of things are being talked about. And I think that, prophecy more than anything needs to be talked about. So shut this down, and I probably might try and do some, getting people on, but I'm trying to get it to the point, I get this live going. So shalom, everybody, and, hope you guys stay blessed, stay prayed up, and, always watch and read. Sorry about that. Always watch, the events that's playing out around you, and read your Bibles too, because at the end of the day, it's the blueprint, and that's the only way we know how to overcome the enemy when, these, times of trouble come, because we're almost there. So, all right, everybody, have a good night.